There are the two things I wanted to ask you. One, you touched on the Biden group. There is, and others as well, that in these primaries, there's no one really credible against him. And still around 10% of those in some of the states were voting undecided. So that's a massive problem for Biden. The flip side of that is those Republicans, certainly Haley supporters, but others who just won't ever vote for Trump. So both sides have a cohort, a block that look like that is a structural problem for them ahead of November.
Yeah, and I mean, it's that never Trumpers group that, of course, the Trump people are going to be worried about. Now, I think one of the things that they would say about that is that a lot of those never Trumper voters are going to be in states that are more likely to go Democrat anyway. So, you know, you're more likely to have a never Trump Republican in, say, New York or California than you would in a Midwestern state like, you know, in Illinois or something like that, that's going to be in place. So that's an important thing to think about because it's always that electoral maths, you know, the same way we here in Australia, Kieran, on election night, look at the seats and the numbers to get, you know, over the line on a majority in Parliament. The best way for Australians to think about the Electoral College is it's like getting seats in Parliament. And that's what they're trying to do here, to get that majority to seat their government. And that's what they're doing. So the question is where those votes fall. Then there's the enthusiasm gap. And the thing is, Democrats, though, I think are much less enthusiastic about voting for Biden than Republicans are for voting for Trump.
Yeah, indeed. The issue for Biden has been one that we've seen 3/4 of Americans have got issues, I think, according to some surveys, with his capacity to remain in the job. It's not new. We had people raising issues about his age and capacity before he won the first time. Is there, you know, we've discussed this scenario. Is it getting any momentum around a possible last-minute Hail Mary at the Democratic convention?
Well, look, that's still out there very much as a live possibility because one of the things people are talking about, too, is this great disconnect, you know, between the Joe Biden you see on air and, you know, at press conferences and at events, you know, who does appear to be a man who is getting old, slowing down, has recall problems, let's put it politely, you know, in those terms. You know, it is not entirely, you know, as mentally sharp as he might have been. And you can go back and watch his campaign speeches from 2016, and you can see there's a massive, massive gap in, you know, his performances in those things. And yet his boosters at the White House and in the media keep saying, you know, like some sort of Soviet Union type of thing, you know, no, everything is fine. Behind closed doors, Joe Biden is the sharpest, most intelligent man you've ever seen. And he's, you know, playing 7 games of chess all at once in the Oval Office. And nobody believes it.
No. And for obvious reasons, you and I were on air same day that he held that ridiculous, chaotic media appearance out of the White House, which was just such a bad look. They can continue with that message as much as they like, but it's going to be a message that sees the Democratic Party head for what looks like you can't say certain at this point, but if you take the polls as they are today, Nate Silver among them, this is a big mountain to climb for Biden to become competitive again.
Well, yeah, and again, people are also going to be thinking, you know, I vote the guy in November, he's really going to go another 4 years? Really? You know, in this state? So, of course, they're thinking, am I actually voting for Kamala Harris, which is, again, a big drag, you know, on the Democrats. They need to renovate their ticket. They need to do it between now and the Democratic convention. Otherwise, they are toast.
Yeah, well, they're picking someone, probably one of few Democrats that definitely won't be competitive. Surely others would be more competitive against Trump. James, great to see you. I'll be tuning in tomorrow night after State of the Union for the US report, 8 p.m. on Sky News. Thanks, James.
See you.
And don't forget to tune in to Joe Biden's State of the Union address, 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time tomorrow, right here on Sky News. We'll have a full preview and analysis of that very important